Lawmakers are demanding answers from the state agency charged with protecting children from violence or neglect. The Department of Children and Families, or DCF, has been under fire since the disappearance of 5-year-old Jeremiah Oliver of Fitchburg. The boy was reported missing in December but hasn't been seen since September and is feared dead. DCF Chief Olga Roche testified today that the social worker assigned to the Oliver case failed to visit the home every month, demonstrating what she called a gross disregard of policies and procedures. Compounding this tragedy, it turns out the family was involved with a social services agency in another state. And while Massachusetts officials were aware of this and requested specifics, they never got more detail. Governor Deval Patrick reacted to these developments today on WGBH Radio's Boston Public Radio with Jim Browdy and Marjorie Eakin.
The Oliver case, I think, is unique and a horrible and horrifying tragedy, personally upsetting to the folks at DCF, to me, I think to most in the general public, and as concerning as the staffing level issues are, which we've been reading about and talking about, and frankly, in my case, working on for some while. They don't explain what happened in the Oliver case, because there, the social worker and or the supervisor misled, frankly, their superiors about those home visits and
Right.
check-ins. I will say this: DCF, as you know, Marjorie, you've thought about this and written about it over the years, has a pretty steady diet of really challenging children in really challenging circumstances, and the people who serve there and serve ably are having to make judgments every day. And most of the time, those judgments are successful, and occasionally they are not. And that's when we all have our sort of dial up our concerns, and that's natural and understandable. I think the question is, are there systems that we have in place that aren't good enough, or are there systems we ought to have in place that would be better in lowering the risk that a bad judgment isn't caught?
The Herald's got today a story: a third of social workers in the Boston Herald's reporting are unlicensed.
Right, but I want to be clear. That's not because somebody is saying let's be sloppy about it. It's because the law says you can't consider that in the hiring. I think that law ought to be repealed. DCF and the DCF leadership and the union for social workers have worked an understanding that being licensed is best practice, and that being licensed is a requisite for being promoted, which is great. But you ought to take the whole, you ought to repeal that law. I don't even know where that would come from.
The governor proposed more money for DCF in his budget this week, which will likely be part of his final State of the Commonwealth address on Tuesday. As for his future in politics, good luck getting anything out of him.
You said before that it was very grueling to run for office and tough to run for office, and you just said how much you loved your wife, Diane. Running nationally, of course, is even more grueling. So
here we go.
But it is a consideration.
It's funny. So I'm gonna say what I've always said, which has been consistently the truth. I am not running for anything else.
Okay.
But it's not going to stop you. Well, maybe one day, but not.
Oh, okay, fine.
Not in the foreseeable future. I don't have any plans. But if it's like the rest of the speculation I have experienced around here, it doesn't matter one whit what I say.
Exactly. Well, on that note, if your former boss's wife called you in 6 months and said, "I'd like to work with you," that would be Hillary Clinton. You don't say no to somebody like that, do you?
We'll have to see. But if you're asking me if I want to be vice president of the United States, the answer is no.
You don't?
No.
All right. To hear Jim and Marjorie's full interview with Governor Patrick, visit our website, WGBHnews.org.